Okay, so get ready for a wild ride today.
Because we're diving into, well,
It's going to be good.
yeah, a Family Guy episode.
Mm-hmm.
And not just any episode.
We're talking about the one where Quagmire.
Oh, no. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
You know where I'm going with this.
This is the
Quagmire becomes a toilet?
the toilet episode?
Yes.
Oh, man.
The toilet episode.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
As ridiculous as it sounds, though,
Okay.
this episode actually offers a really insightful look at identity.
Yeah.
And how we perceive masculinity in particular, and how society reacts to change.
I like that, how society reacts to change.
Yeah, and particularly when it's unexpected change.
Okay, so like set the stage here a little bit.
For those who may have maybe missed this episode of Family Guy.
Quagmire's dad
Right.
comes out as transgender.
Yeah.
And the episode just kind of spirals from there, right?
It takes a hard left turn.
Yeah.
Into a brick wall.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I think what's so fascinating about this is that it's like on its face,
It's just absurd.
it's totally absurd.
Like it's just out there.
When you really start to think about it, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a really
A clever way to kind of force us to confront the unexpected, right?
yeah.
Quagmire, who, for better or for worse, is defined by his,
Right.
shall we say, very active lifestyle, is suddenly completely powerless.
Yeah.
He's thrust into this situation where he has no control.
That's interesting.
Because, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
It's like this total loss of control, right?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden we have to completely recontextualize him.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
They want you to look at him in a completely different light
Okay. Yeah.
and think about, what does it even mean that he's a toilet now?
Right. Yeah. And it's not, I mean, it is what it is on its face, but it's also not.
Exactly. It's a symbol.
It is. It's very symbolic.
Right. I don't know. I'm interested to hear your take on it.
Well, I mean, I think a big part of it is that
You know, Quagmire's whole thing, right, is that he's very masculine
hyper-masculine almost.
in a very specific way. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to see
All
him
of a sudden-
in this, like, very vulnerable, very passive position,
powerless.
powerless,
It kind of throws that whole idea
of what it means to be, quote unquote,
masculine up in the air.
I think it really does.
Yeah.
And it forces us as the audience to kind of confront our own assumptions about gender roles
Right.
and how these roles shape our interactions with other people.
Absolutely.
Right. Because if we're being honest with ourselves,
Yeah.
a lot of us have these preconceived notions about how a man should act
Sure. Yeah.
and how a woman should act.
Right.
And so to see somebody like Quagmire in this completely unexpected situation,
Yeah.
it forces us to kind of reevaluate those assumptions.
Like, wait a minute.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like
Family Guy is holding up this like funhouse mirror to society
yeah.
and making us laugh at the absurdity, but also asking, like,
Right.
but is it really that absurd?
Is it really? Yeah.
You know?
I think that's the genius of Family Guy, honestly. They're able to take these really sensitive, complex issues,
Right.
inject them with humor, make them more accessible,
Yeah.
and they make you think about them in ways that you wouldn't necessarily if you were just reading about them in the newspaper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's social commentary disguised as satire.
It's satire at its finest.
Exactly.
I think that's,
I think that's why it works so well, because it doesn't feel like you're being preached.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're just like, oh, this is funny.
Yeah.
But then later on, you're like, huh,
Exactly.
maybe there's something else there.
It makes you think, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So,
What can we take away from all this?
I think for me, it's just a reminder.
That we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
Life is,
Life is absurd.
it's absurd, it's unpredictable.
It really is.
And sometimes the best thing we can do is just laugh at the absurdity of it all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And to be open to the unexpected.
Yes.
Right. Because sometimes the things that we find most shocking
Yeah.
can actually be the things that teach us the most about ourselves.
Yeah, that's a great point.
If we're open to it.
Yeah, I like that.
Be open to it.
So yeah, the next time you're
Watching something,
and you think it's ridiculous.
just think a little deeper,
Yeah, just ask yourself, why am I laughing at this?
Why? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
What is it about this that's making me uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And is it possible that there's something more to it than meets the eye?
Because there might be.
Oh, I love that.
You might be surprised.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and you might find a little piece of yourself.
He reflected back at you in the process.
Exactly.
So on that note, I think we'll leave it there for today.
Sounds good.
But keep those brains churning, folks.
We'll catch you next time.